Hey everyone, Nazarov here, and after a very extended hiatus, I'm back. Because in this episode, we're delving into the sleeping city of Ny'alotha. Now, as far as escape methods go, Ny'alotha is about as easy as it gets. All you need is a demon hunter, and something to slow your fall like the filled festive mug or parachute attachment for engineers. Run up to the platform right before you go into the pyramid where you fight the hive mind, double jump off, flip, and use your slow fall to glide over to this rock. Once you're on the rock, simply run underneath the pyramid and jump up, and that's it. You're outside of Ny'alotha. We can now explore the city freely, and in a moment I'm going to talk about one of the best routes I've found to see a lot of the city. Once inside the pyramid, make sure to avoid the big hole in the middle, because if you fall into it you'll get stuck in a DC loop and have to wait for the game to port you back to the start. Now, navigating along the edge of the hole, we're going to make our way out to the back of the pyramid and come out next to the floating platform behind it. You may recognize this platform as the portal you originally entered the instance through. Once here, dismount and align yourself with one of the two raised pylons, double jumping and using Fell Rush to push yourself up the small ramp onto the platform. Carefully walk along the raised section until you come to the other side, double jump, and glide down onto the staircase. This platform is an exact copy of the one you can use in Uldum or the Vale of Eternal Blossoms to enter the raid. However, the raid portal does not work. Another thing of note is that despite the fact that you never actually swim in it during the raid, the lava around Ny'alotha does still deal damage like regular lava, so you're going to want to jump as far as you can to get over it to avoid the amount of damage you take. We're also going to talk about a method of navigating large sections of lava later in the video. Up ahead, you can find another copy of a raid entrance platform. These can be found scattered throughout Ny'alotha, and none of them function as instance portals. However, the platform does afford a lovely view of Ny'alotha from above. Much of a mountain range to the right of here can be explored, but I didn't find much interesting over there, so in this video I'm going to be taking a path to the left instead. Heading back to the mountain, we're going to travel away from the raid and try to crest over the top of this mountain range. One interesting thing of note is that a lot of the mountain range is decorated even outside of the view of a raid. For example, various platforms found in the Uldum and Vale of Eternal Blossoms assaults can be found outside the visual range of a raid. I'm not going to go so far as to assume this means we were originally supposed to explore more of the city, but it's probably either just Blizzard's general polish or designers having fun building the environment. Either way, it's fun to explore, so thanks for the extra work. Up ahead is a great showcase of one of my favorite facets of Ny'alotha's design. In order to make the raid look much larger and more expansive than it actually is, the developers painted an incredibly detailed skybox which arcs down to the ground. This skybox displays distant buildings and large tentacles of N'Zoth reaching up around the world. The reason the section of the city we visit is surrounded by a mountain range is because this masks where this skybox merges with the ground, allowing the illusion to look more seamless. We're now going to explore the mountains to the left of the raid. However, we're going to need to take a somewhat indirect route because there's a large kill zone surrounding the immediate left of the buildings. We're going to need to swim several hundred feet through lava, which means I need to teach you a trick called lava jumping. As you may already be aware, in World of Warcraft, lava does not immediately start damaging you. Instead, you need to be in contact with it for a few seconds before it starts its ticking debuff, at which point it will begin to deal damage to you every 2 seconds. The goal of lava jumping is to be out of contact with the lava every time the damage is supposed to trigger, minimizing the amount of damage you take. The timing is incredibly difficult to get down perfectly, which means you're still going to take a lot of damage. Because of this, stop at every rest point you can in order to recharge your health so you have more wiggle room for the next leg of the jump. You can also make it easier on yourself by stacking effects that automatically heal you, or bringing healing items like health potions and health stones. We're now undertaking the longest leg of this lava jump, and I'll be completely honest with you, I think I died 5 or 10 times trying to record this. The main trick with lava jumping is rapidly pressing space twice every time you touch the lava, in order to try to activate glide as quickly as possible and minimize the amount of time you're in contact with the ground. If you get into the right cadence of it, you'll be able to completely skip taking lava damage. However, if your timing gets thrown off, you're going to start taking lava damage on every single jump, so you want to reset your timing by using an ability like Fell Rush or Vengeful Retreat. If you're having trouble with this part and dying, I completely understand. It's a really frustrating thing to do, and it's hard to get down perfectly. I promise if you keep trying, you're going to get the cadence down eventually, and you'll be able to make it. If you've made it to this section of land, congratulations, you're through the worst of it. Looking up ahead, you can see one of the giant tentacles of N'Zoth, which is actually painted into the skybox, moving slowly behind a mountain. And turning our camera around, we can see how the distant mountains, obelisks, and buildings are all actually part of the skybox. Heading even farther forward, I hope you've mastered lava jumping, because it's time for even more of it. As usual, use various slow falls to reduce the amount of time you're in contact with the lava because nobody likes lava jumping and it's good to do as little of it as possible. We're currently swimming towards a point where the lava is going to just drop off. We've seen this in previous videos with water effects and it's the same here. We're now going to use the edge jumping method covered in my Encourage video to carefully get up this mountainside. And for those unfamiliar with that technique, the trick is to keep your character's side as parallel to the mountain face as possible and slowly glide down in order to hook onto the side. Once here, run up the hill to gain altitude, then turn around and do a long jump using slow fall, fell rush, and vengeful retreat in order to get to the next mountain over. If you mess up the jump, don't worry, you can use the lava to swim back up and try again. We're going to use the same edge jumping method we utilized a moment ago to hook onto this mountain face and jump our way up until we can walk normally. This and the lava jumping are the trickiest parts of the exploration, and if you're able to get through this bit here, you are absolutely home free. If you're able to walk up the hill normally, like I'm doing now, congratulations, because it's going to be smooth sailing from this point on. Simply run up until you can't anymore, at which point use more edge jumps to get to the next level of the mountain. This next little clip of me climbing is pretty boring, but I don't want to speed through it too quickly because it's really important that anybody who's following along be able to see the path I use to get up here. So on behalf of those people, thank you for your patience during this section, and I promise it is almost over and you'll get to see a section of mountain which is really blue for some reason, and I don't know why it's blue. I tried to figure out why it was blue, and I couldn't come up with a good explanation. I don't know if it was an artifact from something, or if a designer just painted a little bit of the mountain blue while he was doing it, or what. But either way, continue up the mountain and you're almost to the top. Cresting the hill, you get to see even more of that really cool tentacle skybox I was talking about earlier, and also you can see one of the edged boundaries of the raid. We don't want to jump down there because there's not really a way to get back up, so instead we're going to use slow fall, vengeful retreat, and fell rush to get to this small spire I'm floating towards right now. And once you've landed here, wait a moment to reset all of your cooldowns because you're going to need everything if you want to make it to that cliff to the left of me. Thanks to the magic of editing, I already have all my cooldowns back, so I'm now going to double jump, fell rush, and use my parachute cloak to get all the way down to this cliff face. Now the mountains ahead of me are the ones that run directly to the left-hand side of the actual raid. And the reason I went for all the effort to get over here versus just navigating the mountains on the right is because the mountains on the right are almost unnavigable. They are far too sharp, and there's not enough sloping inclines, which means every single time you want to gain altitude, you have to make a bunch of really precise jumps, and if you mess up once, you fall all the way back down to the bottom. So believe me, as complex and challenging as this path was, the other one would have been 100 times worse. Plus, you wouldn't have gotten this really cool view of the raid below. That's right, soak that landscape in. That's what hard work looks like, and you earned it. I'm proud of you. Alright, that's enough soaking in the scenery, because there's more exploration to do. Run off a cliff using a speed boost, then use slow fall, vengeful retreat, and fell rush to navigate yourself towards the large building where we fought the first 3 bosses in the raid. You want to try to maintain as much height as possible because this building doesn't have interaction and you're going to float right through it. You're trying to aim for a small cliff inside of it. We're going to be using the same side jump method we used earlier, so get ready. Once here, navigate your way along the wall trying to maintain as much height as possible. It's very important that you're able to reach this small cliff ahead of us, so rest between jumps whenever you can in order to reset your cooldowns. Once here, adjusting the angle of your camera allows you to look inside the building, and if you look straight ahead, you can see the elevator you took after the 3rd boss moving up and down in the distance. The footage has been sped up because I didn't really think anyone wanted to watch an elevator go up and down for 40 seconds. Jumping forward, we find ourselves inside of a building above where players normally have access. And I'm going to start off by saying, it is really difficult to navigate in here. You have to use slow fall to get any meaningful distance, and you can't see where you're going until you've already jumped because of the camera angles. Also, there's a bunch of death zones that will randomly kill you if you float into them, so it's really hard to get to various places without a bunch of attempts. This, combined with the fact that due to the run back it takes 25 minutes for every single attempt, I wasn't able to explore this area as well as I'd want. One time I did float into the Rathian room, which was really cool, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get footage of that. There are some screenshots of it in my article, however. But on the upside, that means there could be sections of Ny'alotha that are yet undiscovered, waiting to be stumbled upon by bright-eyed young explorers. So pick up your mug, throw on your cloak, and explore the mysteries of Ny'alotha for yourself. And as always, thanks for watching.